What's up, my ninjas? I'm Strydent, and I am back with another action figure review. This time it is a figure I've been waiting a very long time to have. It is the Rambo figure from First Blood Part 2 by Neca. Now, I am a Rambo fan. I have all the movies. I've watched them religiously for a very long time. I used to have the old Rambo toys when I was a figure. Yes, they made a cartoon out of Rambo, which doesn't make sense, because at the time we didn't have the second and third films. But yeah, they made a cartoon, and I had the toys for that. It was a terrible cartoon. I mean, at some points it was cool, but for the most part it was kind of just meh. But anyway, it hasn't been since then, since, you know, I even thought about an action figure of Rambo. I mean, they made others, but they weren't the iconic version of Rambo. They made the one from, you know, First Blood, the very first Rambo, but they didn't make one from... they hadn't made this one yet, and I was just waiting for this. This figure comes as a big surprise. I mean, in some ways it's not, because it's Neca, but in other ways it is, because you get so much in this package and it's under $20. So let me go over the reasons why it's awesome. Okay, so the sculpt. Dead on Rambo. There's nothing missing. Every little detail is on here, and I'll go over them in detail because that's what you do when you do things right. Now, I forgot to say this way back when I said I'm done collecting American figures. I know I mentioned that there are a couple companies that I would still buy figures from. NECA's one of them, but they're kind of hit or miss for me. There's a video I'm going to put up, or I may have already put up, where you'll see issues I had with their Predator figures. But the face sculpt, anyway, you know, it looks like Stallone, like young Stallone, you know. His lips hadn't started sticking up all weird yet. The eyes are kind of, you know, off. But overall, you know, it looks really good. And I love this luminescence that the skin tones has. It almost looks like wax. It's really cool. I'm like, man, how did they pull this off? It's like they're mixing the paint in with the clear plastic, or a clear plastic, or they're using a different grade of plastic that is somewhat, you know, that has some transparency to it. But the headband is there, the mullet, well, it's not even it's longer than a mullet, but the hair, the mullet's there, his freaking jade necklace is there, all the freaking striations of muscle, because if you know Stallone, you know he's a workout fanatic. This guy is in insane shape, like Batman level shape, you know. And in these days he's in his 60s, and he's just in impeccable shape, which is why I don't get all the jokes that people keep making. Oh yeah, he looks like he's gonna die on screen. No, Ian McKellen looks like he's gonna die on screen. Schwarzenegger and Stallone do not. Even Schwarzenegger's gotten it back up to, you know, close to speed. He's in, like, really good shape now for a 60, almost 70-year-old dude. So, yeah, I don't get the jokes, but whatever. I mean, those who don't know are going to run their mouths, you know. But anyway, the scars are there. Every striation. You can even see the lightweight texturing on his, all over the skin, to where the pores and everything are. I mean, it's just masterfully done. There's nothing to ask for, you know. In the movie, the red headband was wet and sweaty and gross most of the time, so it was dark. And they painted it as such, you know. Even the scars on his back, they're masterfully rendered here. And it makes sense, you know what I mean? They're details that the character had, and they're details that the figure should have. And I wasn't expecting them to be there, but then when you think about the attention to detail that Neca usually pays, I should have expected it to be there. His BDUs, I was expecting them to just use parts from, you know, Predator, you know, various Dutch figures and stuff, you know. They didn't do that, though. They sculpted completely different legs and boots and all that stuff, and it looks good. I was surprised. I was kind of thinking to myself, yeah, you know, here they could go cheap and no one's going to say anything because it's just BDUs, you know. But the proportions are all specific for this character, and I was really impressed at that. And I know I had seen this figure. I saw the model of this figure at Toy Fair like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. And I was wondering what's taking so long, you know? And back then, I hadn't really seen all of the Predator figures, so I didn't know if, you know, it was reused parts or not. But it's not, you know, all new sculpt. So kudos to them for that. I mean, this is what you pay for it. I mean, like I said, this was 17 bucks at Toys R Us. At Toys R Us, of all places. Now, the accessory count, this is a thing of beauty. Me and ODC, that's me, we're talking about this the other night because we're like, how is it that we're paying less than 20 bucks and we're getting all this shit, you know? I don't even have pictured his knife or his machine gun, but still, you're getting all this shit and the figure is 17 something, you know? It's crazy. It's just crazy. And Neca tends to take care of its fans by giving you the things that the character is supposed to have, and this is no different. And it's refreshing to see that, you know? So first up, we have the infamous knife, the hunting knife. It doesn't have any little pieces that come off or anything, but it looks menacing and it's huge and it's scary. The only thing I'll say is that in the movie, it was black with like silver lining. Like around the edges of the blade, but you know, who cares? The shape is right, the look is right. It's Rambo's big ass knife, you know what I'm saying? So cool. You have a little sheath to put the knife in on his side. The sheath, it's not supposed to be removable. I was screwing with it when I first got him and it came off, so I just super glued it. And I always do that with sheaths and holsters. I always, you know, mess with it a little bit to see if it's gonna pop off, and then I glue it back in. He also comes with a grenade, an old school grenade. I like the fact that he also came with hands, a specific set of, well, not set, but a specific hand to hold the grenade properly and not warp the fingers of the, you know, gun hands and whatnot, or the knife hand. He also came with a specific hand for the knife too. So that is nice because that means you can actually pose him the way you want to, unlike the Dutch figure who comes with a knife that he can't really hold very well, you know? But it just looks great, you know? They actually did a good job. I mean, I know I probably should have flipped it around and, you know, have the edge close to the thumb, but whatever. This is just for the sake of you seeing that he can hold it. It's just a nice addition, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those times where it's like they actually thought about what they were going to give the character so that he can look the part. Now, he also comes with the infamous Hog. That's his big-ass 60 cal machine gun that, you know, I think this is what everybody remembers Rambo for. And it's weird because if you ever see the first two Rambo movies, like, Stallone acts his ass off, especially in the first one. The first one's not as action-heavy as the second one. And you really feel for the dude, but yes, everyone remembers him mowing down shit with a fucking, you know, M60. But this thing is awesome. It looks really good. At first I was looking at it, I'm like, damn, this is the kind that's on the sides of it used to be on the sides of Blackhawks. But I can't really say anything bad. The only thing I can say that it should have had that would have been nice is a big ass box, you know, ammo box, or an ammo belt so you could actually wrap the ammo around his other hand and have it feeding into the gun. But it's still awesome, and I might have one of those around here somewhere. Also, you get a RPG. I love that. It's old school looking, just like in the movie. It's accurate. You know, I've had enough of these to know what they're supposed to look like. It's they didn't skimp on the scale. Because a lot of times, you know, what you tend to find is that, you know, no matter what the scale is of the figure, they leave out certain details and then, you know, they shrink it so they can fit in the package. This, I mean, it's to scale with the figure and it looks right. And he can actually hold it right, too. That's another awesome thing, you know, which lends itself to the articulation. And I'm not going to spend too much time on articulation. I'm just going to compare and I'm going to point out a lot of the cool parts about the articulation. But yeah, his accessory count is on point. I mean, this is what you need for Rambo to be Rambo, you know? So, articulation and comparison. I'm going to compare him to Dutch because, like I said, initially I thought him and Dutch would be the same figure, just a different head. They have entirely different musculature. They're not the same height. As you look closely, and you'll see when I pull back from, the figures a little bit more, Arnold's bigger and taller than Rambo. And they have different muscles. Like Arnold's arms are bigger. Arnold's back is his shoulders and back are wider. Arnold's thighs and legs are bigger. It doesn't look like it's a huge amount, but it's enough that you can tell which one of these two was supposed to be big. I mean, they're both big dudes. It's just, I know Stallone is short. We met him at Planet Hollywood years ago. And I was taller than him then, and I was in my teens. So, it's cool to see that they paid attention to this. I mean, look where Arnold's shoulders are, and look where Stallone's, Stallone's or Dutch's shoulders and Rambo's shoulders. You know what I mean? You can clearly see a difference. It's a little bit better when you see them standing up perfectly straight. I have Dutch kind of leaning back, so it kind of takes away from his height, but you'll see in the next picture, there is a difference between their height. I mean, you can see it right now. You can even see that Arnold's legs are bigger. I was really amazed at the fact that they paid attention to this kind of detail. And as you can see, they have ball-jointed shoulders, hips, ball-jointed head. I think it's a double barbell. The swivel at the elbow instead of the bicep. There's also the, let me see, they have a diaphragm joint, which you can't see in this image, but you could see in the earlier images that I shot where you saw just his torso. They have a waist swivel. Actually, no waist swivel. I don't know why I said that. So the single bend at the elbow, twist at the wrist, and also because it's on a weird kind of peg / ball joint, they can swivel up and down. Single bend at the knee, it's about 90 degrees. And they have ankle pivots, and they also have a swivel at the ankle. So they're pretty posable, which I really dig. I prefer the bicep swivel to an elbow swivel, but for some reason on these figures it doesn't look so bad. It doesn't break up the sculpt as much. I think it hides the sculpt better when you actually sculpt the swivel into the bicep, or the shoulder and right at the bicep. But it looks good. Everything works. I mean, look at the difference in their backs. Now you can really see the difference in height. And all I did was just move the camera around them. I love it. These are my two all-time favorite. I mean, with the exception of like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is my top favorite, like, action star. But Sammo Hung comes next, and then these two would be my top quote-unquote American action heroes. And here they are, captured in all their glory, and it's awesome. It's the reason why we collect figures sometimes, is to see some of our favorite things recreated in 3 dimensions. Even down to their boots, different types of boots with different designs. It's almost like they really were looking at the costumes, the test shots and everything for the film, so they can see what the costumes look like entirely, and they did a good job recreating it. I'm happy with that. Production notes, that's what I was looking for, production notes. There's not much else to say. This is just, it's quality. This is just 2 of my favorite characters, 2 of my favorite action stars in figure form, and they look and feel like the characters. So props to Neca. You knocked it out of the fucking park. This is what I've been waiting for a long time. So thank you, Neca. Thank you very, very much. The big issue is the paint work on the eyes, and that tends to be an issue with a lot of companies. He's got this wandering eye. It's more so the right eye than it is the left eye. The left eye is in the right place. The right eye is kind of wandering off to I don't know where. But that's my only gripe. And from far away, you don't even notice it. Overall, you've got a very, very well done figure. Obviously, it has a flaw, but, I'm noticing a lot of figures have flaws. Some of my top favorite figures, I'm finding things that I didn't like, or I have something that I have to complain about, but in this case, it's very minute. You have him on your shelf with your other movie figures, your RoboCops, your Lord of the Rings, your Hellboys, all that stuff, and he just looks like Stallone, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just really glad they finally got around to making this particular Rambo. I love what I'm seeing. I love the way you pose the figure. I love the fact that he can hold his weapons right. I love the fact that most of what I saw him do in the film, I could pose him that way. So I'm happy about that. I'm extremely happy about that. This is the way action figures should be, especially in this day and age. If you're going to charge us double digits for the figure should be quality. It shouldn't be a shitty figure with all these goofy problems and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It should be a well-done figure that's to a specific standard, which NECA has a decent standard, and it should, you know, represent what we saw on screen, you know? So, anyway, I'm Strydent, and this has been my review of the NECA First Blood Part 2 Rambo figure. It is a, I give it an A, because it's just a perfect, in so many ways it's perfect except for that one flaw. And if you repaint, you could fix it. So, that's it for me. You've been great. I am Strydent, and peace outside.